Hello, welcome back to Learning Curves. I'm Anastasia, and I'm the mom of two girls, the oldest of whom just turned 3 this past weekend. I've learned a lot over the last couple of years about my daughter specifically and toddlers in general, from her, from other parents of toddlers, from the toddlers course, Big Little Feelings, learned a lot there. And I started to notice that toddlers and adults aren't that different, which is not great. They say that we're not raising people who are going to be kids forever. We're raising future adults. But today I want to share with you 5 things I've learned about adults from raising a toddler. Number 1, listening is hard. The other day, my daughter called to me from another room. I was in the kitchen and I heard her say, "Mommy, come here." I was like, "Baby, I'm busy. I need you to come here." "No, Mommy, come here." I was like, "No, you come here." And after a while of this, I finally went to her and she was sitting on her potty going potty. So she was busy. And I'm glad that she didn't listen to me. In fact, it was me who should have listened to her. And I did in the end, but she had to tell me 3 times. I think adults mistrust the ability of children to accurately communicate their feelings and wants and needs. And I think that we should give them some more credit there. And I think we mistrust other adults too. We're not good at it. We don't listen. People talk over each other constantly. I think a lot about that Fight Club quote, in Fight Club where Helena Bonham Carter and Edward Norton are talking about going to support groups and they're saying that people really listen instead of just waiting for their turn to talk. I've been in a lot of work meetings at my current job and previous jobs. There are people who you watch them and it's like, are you capable of listening? Do you understand that there was another person who just said exactly what you're saying right before? It always ends up being that the people in work meetings that I respect more talk less. We don't listen. And the thing is, when you're listening, you are learning, or at least you have the potential to. You can't learn while you're talking. And this is coming from someone who loves to talk. While I do like to talk, I do really enjoy listening because that's how these curves learn. So weird. So cringy. It's cringy, right? Am I cringy? Why am I excited about that? Anyway, so number 1, listening is hard. Number 2 is brought to us by one of my favorite quotes. I found it somewhere on Pinterest a while ago before I had kids, and I have to have mentioned it on my channel before. I think it might have been in my video about feelings. The quote said, "Don't think of a child as behaving badly. Think of them as struggling to deal with a difficult situation." And I have applied this to grown-ups also in my life, and it has been super helpful. We are not born knowing what feelings feel like and how to communicate them and what to do with them when we have them. That is supposed to be a learned skill. I mentioned, I think it was in my feelings video, about this quote that I learned from my chiropractor's office that is, "It never gets easier, you just get better." And the example I gave in my feelings video was about handwriting. If you look at a kid writing the letter A, you're going to see that it's a lot easier for us to write that A. But it's not easier, we're just better at it. It takes the same amount of skill to write an A for everyone. We just have more experience with it. So it feels easier because we're better at it. Same thing with emotions. If my daughter breaks down crying because she wants, ice cream, and we say, "Sorry, baby, it's not time for ice cream," then that may seem like she's having an irrational reaction or that she's throwing a fit. But the other day, I had my heart set on froyo, and I was out of the house magically by myself, and I had cleared it with the husband. All systems were go. It was perfect scenario. I pull into the parking lot, and I realize it's after 8 and they're closed. And I didn't get froyo. Did I fall on the floor crying? No. Did I cry as I drove home? Yeah, no. I was upset, though. I felt that upsetness. I just am better at dealing with that. Oh, and something else. To keep it nondescript, someone I care about was talking to me as she was driving home, and I was thinking about this video and I was at my computer, so I typed down something she said, so I'm going to read it. She said, she was talking about work. She was really frustrated. And she said, they're like, we're going to make you follow these stupid rules that don't make sense and then not explain them to you. And I was like, I bet you my daughter could have that same complaint about me. I mean, how many toddlers feel like they're forced to follow rules that don't make sense to them and that they feel like aren't clearly explained to them? That has to be really upsetting. It is upsetting for this grown woman, and it is upsetting for our kids. It might be my favorite quote, but number 2 is, we are not behaving badly. We are struggling to deal with a difficult situation. So cringy. Number 3, we all want power and attention. When my daughter first kind of solidly hit the toddler phase, I used to joke when she was like 18 months or something. I was like, she is so advanced. She's already in her terrible twos. So cringy. But in those early days, as I was looking at a lot of different resources, I kind of settled on Big Little Feelings because they're kind of a one-stop shop, and I love the way that they teach everything that they teach. But at first, I was kind of looking for a resource and doing some sort of broad Googling, and every resource I found concluded that toddlers want power and attention. And I would clarify those when I'm talking about adults as well, to say that everyone wants autonomy and to be seen. So with toddlers, you see the power struggles. They manifest as tantrums a lot, right? The whole like, it's not time to watch TV, or no, I watch TV now. I'm gonna have to make a compilation of all of my toddler impressions and embarrass myself. That's all. How often, my daughter will grab something that's clearly mine or her sister's or my husband's and say, this is mine. Well, it's not, kid. A dog toy is not yours. And she's just trying to exert some power there. And I think for the rest of us, think about how angry Americans, privileged Americans specifically, get when we have freedoms infringed upon. We get real upset, and it's, I think, because we feel like we're losing some of our autonomy. We don't like to be told what to do. We like to be able to make our own choices, and it's the same for toddlers. And for the attention piece, I would say that what we want is to be seen. So while we may not want hordes of people hanging on our every word, we do want to be recognized for our hard work or our good deeds or whatever effort we're putting out there. We want positivity back. We want acknowledgement back for all of that. I think we all want power and attention, or autonomy and to be seen, which is number 3, which brings us to number 4. Number 4, you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. We don't teach our toddlers the lessons we think we're teaching them when we do so negatively. We get such better results when we encourage and champion and when we model. I watched the first episode of the show Canine Intervention on Netflix, and I also wrote down something that they said. He said, I deal with a lot of aggression that comes from fear. He talks about if we can get the dog from an anxiety state to a dopamine state, it will approach things with a better state of mind. And then there was a lower third that said, toys, treats, or praise put dogs in a dopamine state and increases their ability to learn. The dogs can learn better when they're happy, when they're excited, when they're feeling good. And I think that same is true for kids. When they learn things because they're scared or because they're threatened or you're angry, they don't really learn it. They just learn to avoid that experience. When we foster a positive environment for our kids to live and experience in, I can't tell you, when we have said, good job sitting on that towel on the bed to eat your food in front of the TV instead of making a mess all over our bedding, good job just sitting right there and not moving, good job, we are lazy parents. Our daughter is like, oh, I'm getting some positive attention just by sitting here. Great, okay, I'll sit here. You get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. But also, no one wants flies. And number 5, maybe my favorite, all of us sometimes need some special TLC and or someone to do scary and gross stuff for us. We just had a mouse in our house, and don't you dare tell me that there is never just one. There was just one. Okay? Okay? They were only in this one room. Don't you dare. We had traps in the closet, and there was one morning that I heard something in the closet when the traps were there, and my husband had not checked the traps that morning, and I called him, and we came home in the middle of the day to check the closet. There are times we need to be taken care of. There's this guy I started following on Instagram, and I gotta look him up. I'll tag him in the description box. He posts funny tweets, and then he shares those tweets on Instagram. I'm not on Twitter, so I see his tweets on Instagram. I feel like that's a really old lady thing to say, but it's just the state of things. And he said something along the lines of, "I think I'm coming down with a cold," or "I don't think my wife heard me say I'm coming down with a cold. I better tell her 67 more times." Because sometimes you need to be treated like somebody's baby, even if it's your partner baby or your parent baby. Sometimes you need somebody to bring you soup in bed and take your temperature 27 times when you're sick, or to kiss your owies, or to let you see that there is not a monster in the closet. And I don't think that we outgrow that. I don't think anybody does. So that's it. Those are the 5 things I've learned about adults from raising a toddler. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, please like this video and please subscribe. Here, I think it depends on what device you're on. Thank you. Bye.